Hi, I'm Scott Mansell from Driver61 and I'd like to introduce you to the Driver61 MasterClass, a practical driving course to make permanent improvements to your track driving. I've been lucky enough to spend the last 15 years and thousands of hours of my life racing and coaching at circuits around the world. During this time, I've seen many drivers, even the experienced guys, get the fundamentals of driving completely wrong. The sad thing is they never get close to finding their true pace and waste a lot of money and time on the way doing it. So with this in mind, I've designed a single day intensive training course to make you faster, safer and more consistent on track. The Driver61 MasterClass is all about learning as efficiently as possible. The concept of the course is really simple. I remove all the distractions from a typical track or test day, which frees up lots of mental capacity for driving. Then I identify issues with the driver's technique before breaking down the theory and installing proper technique through repetition. I used to do a lot of coaching on track or test days, but this kind of coaching is somewhat two-dimensional, where as coaches we'll concentrate on braking a few meters later or turning in at a slightly different point rather than working on core technique. With all this experience, I realised that actually working on core fundamental technique makes much more of a difference to a driver. The Driver61 MasterClass focuses on giving you, the driver, the tools to make these decisions yourself and understand why you're doing them. The goal of the day is to break down any issues with your technique or see where it can be improved, explain that technique to you, and practice with lots of repetition a new technique until it becomes natural for the driver in question. The masterclass is a natural progression from the online Drivers University tutorials that I created a couple of years ago. Learning about technique in these tutorials is an excellent starting point, but the masterclass will help you take the next step in improving your driving performance. I hold the course at Bruntingthorpe Proving Ground. The reason that I do this is that there's little to no traffic to distract us from understanding the proper technique. This means that we have complete flexibility and can run drills that we just wouldn't be able to do on a track or test day. The issue with track or test days is that you just can't get into a rhythm, and this uses up valuable mental capacity that makes it very difficult to change core technique. Using Bruntingthorpe means there are no distractions, so it means you can learn efficiently and make permanent changes. In terms of seat time, there's absolutely no classroom padding. We'll spend all of the day in the car, ensuring you understand the theory before working through each practical technique. During the day, we'll cover over 200 miles and 135 laps. I use a Mazda MX-5 for the Driver61 MasterClass, and I often get asked why. Even though the Mazda isn't a very fast car, it's absolutely perfect for this type of training. Because the car's slower than most race cars, it means that you're in the corner for longer, meaning the time that you're on the edge or on the limit, understanding the technique is much longer than you would normally have on a track or test day. Also, because the car's slower, a driver will generally be using less mental capacity to actually drive the car, which means they have some space available to think about the technique and to think about how they can change their inputs to improve their speed through a corner. The car's also set up perfectly for this type of training. It's quite soft, which means that any harsh movement into the steering wheel or on the pedals is felt quite strongly, which is great when you're trying to understand how to move the weight of the car around and generate a higher limit. And finally, I've coached many people in the Mazda MX-5 at Bruntingthorpe. The car and the circuit are consistent. The driver is the only variable, which means that my analysis and getting the driver to be faster and improve their technique can be much more efficient because I've seen most of the issues that drivers have many times before. So finally, let me say that in my 15 years of coaching experience, genuinely, these training days are the most efficient training that I've ever done. The feedback that I've had from each and every driver has been absolutely fantastic. So if you'd like to book a day with me, please click the link in the description below. And if you have any questions, please get in contact on the Driver61 Masterclass page. Thanks, and I hope to see you soon.